Between May last year and February this year, 5,004 pregnant dairy heifers valued at over 2.5 billion rupees were imported to the country as per an agreement reached between the Ministry of Rural Economy and an Australian enterprise. These pregnant dairy heifers were thereafter distributed among farms in the country. However, based on data recorded from the distribution of 880 pregnant dairy heifers, the Auditor General prepared a special report, and some of the startling facts were reported on Action TV last week. 3,026 pregnant dairy heifers of the total 5,004 heifers were not covered in the scope of the special audit because those 3,026 pregnant dairy heifers were imported to the country only after the audit was done. According to this report, 1,978 dairy heifers imported initially were distributed among 21 farms. What is astounding is that the report found a majority of these farmers who were given dairy heifers did not possess the expertise to operate a dairy farm. 31 of the 880 pregnant dairy heifers subject to this audit had contracted some form of a disease when reaching the farms, and another 38 heifers contracted diseases after reaching the farms. The government bore a cost of more than 300,000 rupees per pregnant dairy heifer, and it is the responsibility of the ministry to follow up on the 1,978 dairy heifers distributed to farms initially. However, according to the audit report, after the 14th of May 2017, the ministry had only followed up and inspected the farms only on one occasion. The audit report claims the dairy farmers were struggling to find solutions to the issues they faced in operating their dairy farms. According to the Auditor General, one of the issues they did not have a solution was a failure to obtain sufficient milk from these heifers to meet the costs. The 3,026 pregnant dairy heifers who were not included in the audit were imported to the country on the 24th of January. In June last year, the ministry published an advertisement calling for applications and interviews. When considering the number of farmers who were selected, only 1,678 heifers should have been imported as opposed to the 3,026 dairy heifers that were imported. Therefore, the question is why 1,348 extra pregnant dairy heifers were imported, and based on whose request was it done? Minister Vijit Vijaymunizoisa deposited 9.8 million rupees to the account of the Ministry of Rural Economy to purchase 50 dairy heifers. However, the government has to incur a cost of 16.5 million rupees for those 50 pregnant dairy heifers in question. Of the 1,978 pregnant dairy heifers imported in May last year, 420 heifers were given to a certain deputy minister at a concessionary rate. When Action TV raised this question, the subject minister responded in the following manner.
මේ හරක්කොලෙන් පහෙන් එකක් 2016 දෙන්න තීරණය කළේ වෙයි ලක්ෂ්මන් වසන්ත පෙරේරා. සල්ලිත් ගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඔබතුමා මේ මග ළඟ තියෙනවා සල්ලි කියවපු කොලේ.
Lakshman Vasantha Pereira is not the only one who placed money for the purchase of these heifers. There were others.
කියනෝනේ ලක්ෂ්මන් වසන්ත පෙරේරා විතරක් නෙවෙයි තව අයත් බැන්දලු. ඉතින් සල්ලි බැඳපු එකට මොකටද දැන් වෙන්නේ?
මුදලාලිලාට සහන මිලට දෙනවට වැඩිය ලේසි නේද මුදලාලිට උන්නම් ගෙන්න ගන්න කියලා මොකක් හරි දෙන එක. ඒක ජනතාවට නේද රජයේ සල්ලි වලින් සහන දෙන්න ඕනේ. තනකොළ ඕනේ නැහැ නේද? බියර් මන්ත්‍රණය දෙන්න ගන්නත්.
That is not necessary. There is a feeding process in place.
Another 15,000 dairy heifers are to be imported to the country before the end of this year, as per the agreement reached between the Ministry of Rural Development and an Australian enterprise for the development of the dairy industry in Sri Lanka. This means the remaining 75% of funding from the total of over 73 million rupees allocated for the project will leave Sri Lankan shores soon. According to the observations made by the Auditor General, importing 20,000 dairy heifers to the country will lead the way to the extinction of the presently high-grade local dairy cows. It is the Auditor General's observation, importing dairy heifers leading to the extinction of local dairy cows poses a serious risk on the future of the dairy industry in Sri Lanka. Therefore, shouldn't the government announce the decision it will make on further importing dairy heifers to the country? Secretary to the President, this is over to you.